Hello everyone, this is Lycanthus, and this video tutorial is on planetary interaction. The purpose of this tutorial is to teach you how to place a command center and support structures so that you can begin producing Tier 1 planetary goods. For this tutorial, I'm going to assume that you already have all your planetary skills at level 3 and that you have a hauler available to you. The reason you need a hauler is because, when I open up my cargo here, you can see each command center requires 1000 M3. Now, once you have your hauler and a command center in your cargo hold, you're going to try to find a planet. I've added planets to my overview here so that it makes it easier to find one. We're going to take planet 2 in UNAG, that's a barren planet, which just happens to match the barren command center I have in my cargo hold. Once you have the planet you need and the cargo hold and all that, you can pretty much minimize out all your windows, being that you're in a safe spot. Okay, we've got a good clean overview here. We've got Planet 2 selected. The next thing to do is select View in Planet Mode. This will take us to Planet 2, and if you left click and drag, you can rotate the planet to view it. While the planet's pretty, just looking at it isn't going to do us any good. So we're going to select Scan, and we are going to pick minerals that we want to mine out. For this tutorial, we're going to go with base metals. So left click on base metals, and this will shade the planet according to the density of those metals. As you can see from the shading here, there's a few green areas, a few yellow areas, and a little bit of an orange area. These correspond with the mineral density chart over here to the left. The lighter the color, the least. The warmer the color, the most. Now, you can drag your upper and lower limits here to adjust the shading on the planet. I like to drag mine down until I can see a little bit of white to find where the best spots are. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of white right here, a little here. We're going to scroll around the whole planet looking for the biggest density of minerals. And it looks like this spot right here is going to be our best. So we'll zoom in on it. Now that we know what we're mining, we need to start building our command center. This red shaded area here is going to be what we're seeking to extract from. So we're going to put our command center somewhere near there. Your command center only serves to provide power and CPU to all the other structures. It doesn't really have any other function. You don't have to tie it into your network with links, and you don't have to use it to extract. So we're going to select our command center, and we're going to kind of put it down over here in the yellow section, sort of out of the way. So there's our command center. And the bad thing about PI is after you do anything, you have to submit the changes. So we're going to come over here and we're going to submit the changes. Now our command center is built. When we left click on it, it'll show us a hologram of what it'll look like in dust, and it'll show us our current CPU and power. Just like ships, POSs, and everything else in EVE, the command center has CPU and power. Right now these are pretty pathetic because we haven't upgraded our command center to our potential. So come over here to the left, select upgrade, and upgrade it all the way to whatever your maximum is. Tell it to upgrade it and submit the changes. Now we have a lot more CPU and a lot more power to work with. So we've got our command center built. It's done. We won't have to look at it for the rest of the tutorial. The next thing we need to do is to be able to get at these minerals. So we're going to select an extractor control unit, a barren extractor control unit because we're on a barren world. And if I zoom out here, you can see a white halo following around. That is the total area with which this extractor unit will be able to pull minerals out of. So we're going to try to get right in here and get this white spot here and a little bit of this white spot here. So we're going to put our extractor unit right there. And just with everything else in planetary interactions, you have to submit it. Now we have our extractor built, but there's a further step to go. So when you left click on the extractor, it's going to bring up the window and show us that we're extracting nothing and it has 0 time left on its cycle. That doesn't do us any good, so we need to survey for minerals. And come over here to the left, and we've previously said we want base metals, so we click on that. It'll bring back up our survey window. Now, there's a few important things about the survey window that you need to know. Over to the left here is how many extractor heads you have. Currently we don't have any miners active. Extraction area size is going to be how long you want to run your extractor for. You can run it anywhere from 1 hour all the way to 14 days, and the time is shown over here. I personally like to run mine for about a day. So we're going to select a day cycle. And right now we have an output of 0 per hour. So let's add some extractor heads by clicking on them. It will show you the amount of power and CPU needed for each extractor head. Depending on how your skills are, you may be able to run 10 extractor heads, or you may be able to only run 4 or 5. I'm going to go ahead and line up with 10 of them. And you can see as I'm clicking these, they're being installed on the planet. Now, once your extractor heads are down, you have the option of grabbing them and moving them around to adjust their rate of extraction. I'm going to find my weakest one here that's only pulling out 175, and you'll see it highlights in the Eve window above, or in the planet window above. So I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to bring him right down here into this white hot spot, and as I move it around, you can see the total per hour and the total extracted changing. So let's drag around some of our heads here to increase our output. As you're dragging, if you get two of them too close to each other, you'll see a lot of static. That means that they're interfering with each other's extraction and you need to move them away. Alright, once you're pleased with the output that your heads give you, you're going to want to install the program. And like with everything else in Eve, you need to submit it. Alright, if we zoom in on our extractor head here, you'll see a tiny white line starting to circle around. That's the cycle activation timer, and if you click on your extractor, you can see that we have 23 hours 59 minutes to depletion. Our current cycle is in 15 seconds, and it has a 15-minute cycle time. If we go back into our survey, at any time you can choose to stop the program and restart it. Well, next day that's available in 30 seconds. But let's say that you had 3 hours left on your cycle, but you needed to refresh it because you weren't going to be able to do it. You could stop the program, reinstall the exact same program, hit submit, and it would go again. Another thing to note out of this is the total per hour. Right now we're pulling 54,000 units an hour. Each factory to produce Tier 1 goods needs 6,000 units an hour, which means with our total hourly output we can run 9 factories. So we're going to close this window, zoom out just a little bit. We've got our extractor head pulling in all these minerals, but we don't have anywhere to store it. So your next step is to come here. You could put a storage facility, but for the same CPU and power you can add a spaceport. So we're going to select a barren launch pad, and we're going to put it absolutely as close as we can get it to our extractor. If you're too close, it will gray out the building. So right there. Now, once you've placed it, of course you need to submit it. We've got a storage facility, we've got our miner here. We have no way for the minerals to get to the storage facility though. So, if you click on your extractor and come over here to links, you'll see that it's currently linked to no buildings. You want to create a new link and link it to your launch pad and submit. Now you'll see that there is a little blue dotted highway running between these two buildings. We're not done with moving our minerals to the storage facility yet. Click back on your extractor, come to your products, and you will see that they are not routed, which means once they're mined, they're just dumped on the ground and not of any use. So you're going to want to click on those and create a route. Where do you want them to go? Well, we want them to go to our command center. So click on our launch pad. Click on your launch pad, click create route, and it will tell you that it cannot create this route because there's dangerous traffic levels, which means your road between the extractor and the commands and the launch pad is not big enough. So what you'll need to do is click on it And when you hover over it, you'll see that it's currently running 0% of its capacity. That's because we're not using anything over it. So click on your link, upgrade your link, and upgrade. For extractors, you'll probably have to do this 2 times. So we'll upgrade twice, and we will submit those changes. Now let's click back on our extractor, go to our products, and tell it we would like to route to our launch pad. As I hover over it, you can see that this is going to use up 131% of that link's capacity, which is too much. If we try to create that again, it's going to tell us that it can't do it. So we need to upgrade our link one more time. As always, with any time in which you have edits pending, it'll show you over in the left here the amount of power usage that it's going to draw and the amount of CPU usage. For Tier 1 factories, you don't need to worry about CPU. You're going to run out of power first. So let's submit that change. We'll come back to our extractor. We'll go over to our products, and we will route these minerals to our launch pad. This time we're only using 65% of our capacity. So once that's listed as the destination, you'll click Create Route. Now, everything that the extractor mines will go straight to the launch pad, which if you wanted to, you could send these off the planet through the launch pad and sell them on the market. But we're interested in Tier 1 goods, not Tier 0 goods. So what we need is some factories. For Tier 1 goods, you just need a basic industry facility. We're going to put one of these as close as possible to our launch pad, because our launch pad is storing the minerals that we need to use in this factory. The reason we're putting them as close as possible is because the further a link, the more CPU and power it draws. So I've already determined from our extractor that we can run 9 factories, so I'm going to go ahead and set up 9 factories here. Depending on your skills, you may only be able to run 4 or 5 factories, and that's okay.